All right, guys. So today we're gonna finish. We're gonna talk a little bit more about files. So we're talking about the open function last time. So we're gonna get a little more specific with this. So if the open function receives a file name that does not contain a path, so a path is the full specified location of a file. So example, you get this is hidden from you a little bit in Windows a lot of times, and Mac the same way. It's hidden from you for a little bit in Windows. So if I see this, I see there's a folder here. It says this PC videos, but I don't know exactly what the path is to this. This is not a real path like the disk path. So the way that I can make that clear is you just click on it, and we can click. Oops, hold on. It's not showing me the path. Well, let's just look here. So it's like users, Chuck, and then one of these things, videos. So now we see the full path for these videos is actually C:\\. So the C: is the disk, the name of the disk. If you have multiple disks, I only have one disk installed. If you have multiple disks, then you can have multiple of these. It can be a C:, D:, E:. Depending on how many disks you have and how they're partitioned, you can have multiple disks. Some of you may have this. And again, this is only for Windows. For Mac OS, it's completely different. It's more like a Unix file system. You'll have to use if you're a Mac person, then you'll just have to figure this out, because I'm not a Mac person. I don't have a Mac to demo with that. But if you're a Windows user, it's C:, and then the name of your path. And so these little sub things are called directories. So this users is a directory. So a directory is a file system structure that contains other things. So this videos actually is a directory. And then this object, this is an actual file, and it's in a, we say it's in a directory. So this users directory, we have a users directory. It has a list of other files that are in this directory, right? My C drive has a whole bunch of different files in it. There's a users directory here. This users directory has a bunch of other directories in it. I have this Chuck directory. Chuck directory has a whole bunch of different folders and files in it. And then there's this video directory, which contains all the videos that I'm making for you guys. So this is important to understand, because this is called a canonical name. The canonical name includes the path. So there's two ways that we can specify files when we open them. The first one is that we don't put the path in there at all. We just use the file name. If you just use the file name, then that assumes that the program is in the file is in the same directory as the program. Wherever the program is running, whatever directory it's running in, that is where that file is. Okay? If you make a file while your program is running, the file is going to be created in the same directory as the program. Where exactly that's going to be is going to depend on what you set up in PyCharm. Another option is that we can specify the path and the file name in the open function argument. If we do this, we prefix the path file name with the literal letter R. We'll look at some examples of this in a minute. But you do need to be aware of the path and where is your program running. Like, this is actually kind of a tough problem sometimes for people. Oh, not Python, PyCharm. So let's run PyCharm. So we'll have our programs running. We won't know exactly where things are running. Let's try. Let's open this one. So it won't be very clear to us where it's running. The easiest way to tell is if you look at wherever the program is. Usually it's wherever the program, unless you have some specialized code, it's usually wherever the program is where it runs from. So its path is, we say its path, the program's path is wherever it exists on the disk. So we can open this in Explorer. You see here, this is actually the path. So it's C: users, Chuck, PyCharm projects, format 1. And this is one of my example programs from earlier where I was showing you guys how to do some formatting. So if this program opens a file, it's going to make that file in this folder where that program exists. Okay, that's usually the default. You can specify, you can actually change that in the development environment. We're not going to do that, but you can. But where the file is is actually really tough. If you don't want that default behavior, and sometimes default behavior can be kind of confusing. You can't figure out where the hell the program was. You try to open it, the open always fails. The reason almost always is that the file is in the wrong folder. All right, so if you're working with files, you can't figure out why your file won't open. Almost always the problem is you either specified the wrong path or you're using the default path and the program is not running where you think it's running. And so you're not actually trying to open it. The read will just, the open will just fail. And the reason is that, again, the program is not running where you think it's running. The file is not where it's supposed to be. It's not in the right folder. So you got to get the file in the right folder if you want to be able to open it. If you don't, you won't be able to open it. You'll get all kinds of errors. It's not a happy thing. All right, so be very, very careful with these files and these paths and these locations, because this is very critical to getting your program to work correctly with files. All right, well, I think that's it for this one, and I will come back and talk more about files in just a bit.